Now, some of you have asked how I got started investing, and without telling you my life story, I actually started investing in 2016 when Acorns, also known as Raiz, just entered the market. The whole thing of being able to invest your spare change is just starting to boom. And I understand that quite a few of you watching my videos are just starting to invest for the very first time. So to make your life easier, I decided to do a series of videos to review investing apps, brokerage apps, and in this video, I'll be reviewing Raiz versus Spaceship Voyager. Revisiting these apps, knowing what I know now, I might have taken a different path. More on that later in the video. I'm not sponsored by either company, but if you do learn something new, consider gently tapping that like button right there. As usual, I will wrap up this video with a portfolio update, and I want to remind you that all of this is just my own opinions, and you should never ever use my videos as financial advice, especially coming from a random Asian dude making videos while not wearing pants. No, I'm kidding, of course I'm wearing pants. Who are you kidding? So, without further ado, let's go! I've structured the app review segments into 4 parts. 1, how do they work? 2, their portfolio options, and then 3, a direct side-by-side comparison, and then I'll wrap up the segment with my verdict. Let's start with Raiz. For sanity's sake, I am only going to focus on the core micro investing product. Everything else is a nice to have in my humble opinion. Raiz entered the Australian market in 2016, and at the time it was called Acorns. The whole point of the app is to enable you to invest your spare change into pre-built diversified ETF portfolios. There are multiple ways to invest your spare change. The 2 I frequently used when I was a Raiz user is to round up my purchases or set a regular amount to be invested every single day. For the roundup feature, it's pretty simple. If I bought a coffee for $3.50, it will round up to $4 and then it will invest that 50 cents into the portfolio that you choose. Now, depending on your risk appetite, there are 7 different portfolio options for you to choose from. And the more aggressive the option, the less of your money will be invested into safe assets like Australian money market, government bonds, or corporate bonds. Now, what's really cool about Raiz is that they have an emerald and a sapphire option. Now, emerald is largely themed around ethical investing, and a big portion of your money will be invested into socially responsible large cap stocks, either in Australia or globally. And sapphire is really cool in the sense that there is a 5% portion of your portfolio will be invested into Bitcoins. I personally think that Bitcoin as an asset class is worth dedicating a full video on in the future, but I won't go into it in this video. The dividends you receive from Raiz are automatically reinvested, and you can withdraw your money at any time with no fees. On top of that, Raiz does provide a report, so it's pretty easy to deal with your capital gains and losses as you withdraw your money. Fees for Raiz are essentially broken into 2 tiers. For accounts less than $10,000, you have to pay $2.50 per month, and for accounts greater than $10,000, you'll be charged 0.275% per year on a monthly basis. From a performance standpoint, over a 2-year period, because of the pandemic as well, the more conservative and ethical investing portfolios were standouts of the bunch. And I'll comment on the fees altogether with Spaceship in just a second. Okay, let's talk about Spaceship Voyager. There are 2 different portfolios for you to choose from, and you can set a regular contribution, and Spaceship will automatically invest that amount for you into the portfolio that you choose. The Universe portfolio mainly invests in companies that's actively selected by Spaceship with a high where the world is going rating. And these companies could include Spotify, Microsoft, Square, Apple, and Tesla. The methodology of providing the rating is done in 4 steps, as you can see on the screen. You can read more about their methodology in their additional information document, but what you need to know is that the max weighting on a company within that portfolio can only be 2.5%, and each company is evaluated via a long-term lens. The overall allocation in the portfolio is about 15 to 25% in ASX listed companies and 70 to 80% in overseas listed companies and about 0 to 10% cash. This is the same for both Spaceship portfolios. From a fees perspective, there are no fees for the first $5,000. Absolutely nothing. Then it's 0.10% for the balance above $5,000, and that's it. And over the last 27 months, the universe portfolio have returned 29.44% per year net of fees. But take this with a grain of salt, since the pandemic have really pushed the tech stocks forward. With the Origin portfolio, it's essentially 100 of the world's largest companies equal weighted in this portion of the pie, and 100 of ASX's largest company by market cap equal weighted as well in this portion of the pie. There are no fees for the first $5,000, and then the fees is 0.05% for the balance above $5,000. Over the last 27 months, this portfolio has returned 9.52% net of fees. Dividends in the Spaceship portfolios are not automatically reinvested. They are distributed at the discretion of Spaceship management. Again, you can withdraw your money at any time, and there will be capital gains or losses implications as you withdraw your money. Now that we got the fundamentals out of the way, let's do a side-by-side comparison. If you put them side by side, the first thing we need to talk about is the difference in fees. With Raiz, you're paying $2.50 per month, which is essentially $30 per year for an account less than $10,000. On the other hand, for Spaceship, you're not paying any fees for the first $5,000, and then it's 0.10% fees for the Universe portfolio, and then 0.05% fees for the Origin portfolio for the amount greater than $5,000. Here's what you need to consider. If you have a small account, let's say $1,000, at $30 of management fees per year, you're essentially paying 3% management fees per year with Raiz, and that doesn't even take into account performance. So with Raiz, the more you invest, the more reasonable is the management fees. Now on the other hand, for Spaceship, you need to have faith in the management team because the stocks in the Universe portfolio is actively selected by them. So from a performance standpoint, depending on the portfolio that you choose, Raiz have said that over the last 2 years, their portfolios have returned anywhere between 4 to 7% per annum. And with Spaceship, the Universe portfolio have returned 29% per annum over the last 2 years, and Origin portfolio have returned 9% over the same period. Now it's important to know that just because a portfolio did really well in the past, doesn't exactly mean that they're going to do really well in the future. And it's also really important to know that Spaceship portfolio is mostly stocks and cash, compared to Raiz, which holds government bonds and deposits. So it will be a little bit more turbulent. So here's my verdict. These micro investing apps are an incredible way to learn about investing and get started with your investing journey. Most importantly, they are great to build your discipline to invest regularly. But I really dislike fees. For accounts below $5,000 in Raiz, you're paying very hefty fees for a passively managed ETF. And that's not taking into account performance. On the other hand, fees are dirt cheap with Spaceship, but you do need to have some faith in the Spaceship management team because some of the stocks in the Universe portfolio is actively selected. For me personally, as an education tool, I much prefer something with less fees. Ultimately, I am a control freak. I prefer to know exactly where my money is going and control what I invest in. So it's inevitable that when I have a big enough portfolio, I will move off these micro investing platforms. On that note, I have made a dedicated video on how to invest $10,000 in Australia. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description box below. But the one last note I want to make here is that I actually started my investing journey with Acorns, which is now known as Raiz. But back then, they were charging $1.25 per month, which is a lot more palatable in my opinion. Now, before I do a portfolio update, if you want access to my video scripts, my research, and also be part of my fortnightly Q&A, not to mention some additional content pieces, consider supporting this channel via Patreon. Now, I'll leave a link in the description box below for anyone who's interested, but nevertheless, it already means the world that you're watching this video. So thank you very much, and let's jump into a portfolio update. With the CMC market portfolio side of things, it's currently worth 60,000 Australian dollars. Over the week, the US president did announce that he's currently unwell and the markets don't like uncertainty. And because of that, my total returns did decline a little bit. I have to say, it was not as bad as I expected to be. I was expecting worse and I was ready to invest my October portion of the capital very quickly if the opportunity shows itself, but it didn't. It wasn't as bad as I thought, so I will keep you posted on what I decide to do with the October portion of my capital. So my US portfolio is currently worth $14,167 plus 252, so approximately 14,400 US dollars, which is approximately 19,700 Australian dollars. Over the week, as Disney lay off some of its workers from the theme parks, there were opportunities for me to build my position, and I did. There are a lot of pessimism around the company right now, but I have documented my investment thesis in my previous portfolio updates. So if you are interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description box below, and just make sure you watch the very end. That's where I've documented my investment thesis. But to save you a bit of time, the core thesis is very much in streaming. And I personally believe that the biggest advantage Disney has is their content library. Now that they also have all of the Marvel characters from 21st Century Fox, all of those individual characters can be built into a movie and then spun off into its individual TV series. The possibilities are absolutely endless. Not to mention, not a lot of people know that they also own ESPN, so that's also a very nice bonus as well. On top of that, I have also topped up in Realty Income, Microsoft, and also in Apple. Now with Microsoft, over the last couple of weeks, they have acquired a company who owns one of my favorite gaming studios. And that studio made Fallout, they made Skyrim, and they also made Doom. And I just believe that Microsoft will play a very important role to home entertainment system and cloud gaming in the future. The one thing I do want to add here is that Dropbox and GoPro are not part of my portfolio. They are free stocks that was given to me if you do try Stake for yourself. Now, I am not sponsored by Stake. I just use Stake because it's just so much easier and much more affordable to invest in US stocks here. On that note, if you wouldn't mind a GoPro, Dropbox, or Nike when you try Stake for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description box below. So thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. If you have learned something new, consider gently smashing that like button right there. Subscribe to my channel and click onto the bell so that when I release future videos, you'll be the first one to know. Oh, I have also left one of my favorite videos on the screen for you right here. As usual, Otto will always do the honors and see you very soon.